So far, the most spectacular day of 2023. Here we are on this April the what? The 12th? Holy mackerel. 12th, 14th? Doesn't really matter what it is. Yeah, just give the lawn a trim. Yeah, cool. Yeah, all right. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to season 4, episode 9. It's only like not even the middle of April yet. And we've got this beautiful short sleeve summer day in Niagara. This is absolutely spectacular. The kind of stuff that we have been waiting for and rejoice in after a long and kind of goofy winter. Well, welcome to Niagara 411 Live with Sterry, fueled by Gale's Gas Fires, supported by Verge Insurance. We are ensconced, I love that word, ensconced in this beautiful downtown pub, and we can just have a look in here because this is the first day of the entire year that we've been able to open the front window, the big doors here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, 149 St. Paul Street in St. Catharines. We are powered by WeeStreem, Canada's premier streaming company. We'll be talking to executive producer Kevin Jack about that in a little bit. Kind of an interesting thing going on in Niagara on the Lake. There was a protest, a non-protest, a hunger strike, a not hunger strike. Well, we'll update you on that and some other things. So come on in. Boy, I almost want to just keep the show outside today. Man, it is just beautiful. So, episode 9 of season 4 of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry is just about to get underway. And by all means, as we remind you every single week, this is your show. It is live. It's not like live on tape or something like that. It's not like we do it live and then play it back. This is the real deal. It's happening in real time. And if you're watching this, you can come on in and join us at any time, bring up any topic or comment on the topic of the day that we happen to be chatting about. Once we get online, you'll see a link at the bottom of the page. And at the bottom of the page, you just click on the link. As long as you have an audio connection and a video connection, we're going to be able to make this happen. And we can chat about anything that you like. If you're sitting at home and we're talking about something, and you're just itching to say something, you're just itching to make a comment or give us some input or tell us that we're wrong and correct us or whatever, that's what you can do here on this show. And we'll talk more about that as well. Okay, Niagara 411 Live with Sterry, back on track in about 30 seconds. Come on in. Hello, as we get settled in the lovely Fiddler's Poorhouse. Come on down and join us for lunch, by the way. They got a hell of a menu here. And as they say, there's something for whatever ails you. So come on in and join us, say hi, have a nice lunch, sit in the open air window. It's... wow, Kevin Jack, it feels like summer. Kevin Jack, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, howdy, Lee.
Co-founder, along with Brandon Scram, of WeeStreem, Canada's premier streaming company, executive producer of this program. So if you don't like what you see, you blame him. If you like what you see, you give me the credit. Okay, that's how this whole thing works.
Yeah, that's what I signed up for.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we wanted to start with today, in case you see something that is alarming, especially folks in the north end of St. Catharines, Malcolmson Environmental Park. It's right on Lakeshore Road at Lock 1 at the end of Niagara Street. So that sort of gives you it narrows in the frame of reference. They're doing a controlled burn. there today. It was planned for Tuesday, but it's going to be happening today. Now, it may have happened, it may be happening, it may not quite get started. I'm not exactly sure of the timing, but it's supposed to be today. So if you see great plumes of smoke at the Melkimson Eco Park, right at the end of Niagara Street off Lakeshore Road, right near Lock 1, please do not be alarmed. It is the city of St. Catharines, and they're doing a controlled burn. I was in there the other day, a few weeks ago, with my dog, God bless her, now deceased, and they were doing a lot of cutting and paring and chopping of branches and things like that. So they probably, now that it's drier, they've probably gathered all of that stuff together, and they're doing this burn. Okay, so that's what's happening there. So we wanted to mention that, so just in case you were getting alarmed, you shouldn't be alarmed. To stay off 911 and all that stuff, because it's not necessary. They've got it under control. And yeah, I wanted to give my love and say I miss you to my girl Georgie. She was 12 years old. She passed away a couple of weeks ago, and I loved her very much. Okay, Kevin, we have one of the most interesting stories of Niagara coming up at about 12:15 today. A gentleman by the name of James Russell kind of shone a light on this story for us. Now, the story has come around before. There is a spot in Niagara on the Lake called the Negro Burial Ground. Now, I know Negro is not a word that we use these days, but that is the name of this plot of land. And there were a couple of headstones discovered there, which led to James Russell getting very, very interested in this plot of land and going to work on his own to see what else is there. And here's one of the reports. Activist James Russell says he plans to end his day-old hunger strike at the Niagara Baptist Church burial ground after town councilors debate his demands in a meeting Tuesday night, which happened last night. After which, as I understand it, the town council issued an official statement, which really wasn't terribly illuminating, and it was more or less, here's the processes and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Kevin, you're probably more familiar with the release than I am, because I haven't even seen the release. I don't think they made the release public, did they?
I think they just emailed it to, the traditional outlets. I don't know why it's not available on their website.
Media outlets, yeah.
Yeah, but here, I'll get it up here for you so you can,
Yeah.
I mean, this is their story and they're sticking to it, type thing.
Right.
Let's see, I'm not sure. Can you read this? And again, James is coming on here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's going to come on and tell us a lot more about this. So I'm just going to really skim through it. In a press release issued by the town's communications department, the town is committed to honoring those buried at the cemetery, preserving heritage in Niagara-on-the-Lake, said the release. Council is committed to a partnership with the community group known as FOTF, whom I'm familiar with, to restore and preserve this burial ground long term. And it goes on. And I don't want to steal James' thunder, because he can answer to a lot of this that is happening. But sort of a Cole's Notes version, a summary, if you will, is the fact that they found these two above ground headstones.
Yeah, here's some great backgrounder, Lee, that we also found on.
Yeah,
on
let's
social
do this.
media.
Here's the back. This is your history lesson. Before we bring in the current fellow James, this is a history lesson for you. I recently read, this is from Nigel, I recently read a fascinating article on TV.org about a Toronto man, James Russell, who's working to uncover stories of people who were buried in an abandoned cemetery for black parishioners at Niagara Baptist Church in Niagara-on-the-Lake between 1830 and 1878. Slavery was still legal in Upper Canada in that period. I was nearby today and went to visit what is now little more than a small field. The church, whose minister was Reverend John Oakley, a white British man, is long gone, as are most of the headstones. It's thought that 28 people are buried there, but only 3 heavily worn headstones remain, 2 of which bear the last name Wesley. Ground-penetrating radar, which was paid for by Mr. Russell himself, has revealed that 15 headstones, 15, are now underground. He is carefully marked out in paint where the bodies are buried. He returns frequently to refresh the lines as the grass grows, placing a small Canadian flag in the middle of each burial space. He once found that someone had left roses on each grave, and there were the remains of flowers near 2 of the headstones when I visited today. So that gives you the background of the story around which we're going to be talking with this gentleman, and he is with us on the air right now. So let me introduce you to 76-year-old James. Sorry if I outed you there in your age, James, but James Russell, Niagara-on-the-Lake, and kudos to you for sticking with this story, because I had heard about this story before, but then it sort of faded away, and we didn't gently into the good night, as they say. And we didn't hear a lot more about it. So fill us in now, pick up the story from that history lesson I just read to where we are today and what your history is with this site.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show.
Our pleasure.
You're right. It was 1985 that I first visited Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I think I went up and down that street in front of the Negro burial ground 3 times before I realized that the Negro burial ground is simply a grassy field. Finally, in 2020, I began to petition the town to allow me to conduct ground-penetrating radar. No one knows who's buried there. I mean, there's speculation according to archives and, of course, municipal records, but we actually don't know who's buried there. We know that they are all early Black Canadian settlers who came to Canada and Niagara-on-the-Lake to escape slavery. Mm-hmm. Since I paid for the ground-penetrating radar, and we found 28 graves and 19 buried headstones. Since then, I have been begging and petitioning the town to pay to unearth the headstones and to restore dignity to the folks who are buried there in unmarked graves. The town has steadfastly refused. When I began my hunger strike on Monday, this last Monday, the mayor did actually come out and sat with me and spent a half an hour explaining that the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake is too poor to afford the $59,000 that it will take to unearth the headstones.
Okay, let me interrupt you here, James, if I may. So the mayor, the Lord Mayor of the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake came out and to see you.
Yes.
When you were shackled to the site.
Yes.
In protest.
Yes.
And the only thing he talked to you about was the city's budget?
Yes.
Do you not find that a little odd?
Not odd. I find it beyond disappointing. When I first discovered the Negro burial ground, I was saddened that the dead had been so disrespected. And then that sadness has now become anger. These folks traveled hundreds of miles, a lot on foot, at night, under the threat of death to a country they knew little or nothing about. And now they've been rendered anonymous.
Okay, James, help give us a little perspective here. There were 2 headstones that were above ground.
Yes.
And because of your analysis that you paid for out of your own pocket, we found headstones and other burial sites beneath ground. How did they come to be buried? Why do we have these 2 above ground and all of these sites below the surface?
Well, interesting. The 2 that are not buried, were both white men. Both were ministers, and they were of the Baptist Church. Back last year, October, one of the town's employees, who's now retired, admitted that back in the 70s and 80s, the town buried the headstones. Actually, according to them, they laid them down.
They laid them down and buried them?
No, they admit to laying them down. I contend that they buried them. The ground of the Negro burial ground is thick clay, and back in the 1830s, black folks could only afford 2-inch thick headstones. There's just no way that in the last 40 years, a 2-inch thick headstone sank 1.5 feet into the ground, covered itself with dirt, and was sod. So they buried them, and they buried them to make it easier to cut the grass.
Make it easier to cut the grass?
Correct.
Mr. Russell, how long ago did this happen? When did the stones get laid down and the new configuration take place?
In the 70s and 80s.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, now there was supposedly a council meeting, well, not supposedly, there was a council meeting last night, after which the Niagara-on-the-Lake Council, the town, issued, for the lack of a better phrase, a media release. What was the content of that?
The media release was the usual platitudes. We support Mr. Russell's effort to restore dignity to the folks who are buried there, and we're working and working and working to see that come about. The usual political garbled response.
And now we haven't mentioned price tag yet, but as I understand it from what I'm told, the price to restore this burial ground to its original state would be approximately $60,000.
Correct. Immediately after we found, I commissioned the ground penetrating radar, and we found the 28 graves and the buried headstones. I asked ARA, Archaeological Research Associates, to provide a quote. And they are a professional archaeological company, one of the premier ones in Ontario. And they came back with $59,000, which will include researching who's buried there and the actual physical process of coming to the site and probing the ground and unearthing the headstones. And they said it would take about 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Is that all?
That's it.
Wow. Well, but there would also be, this is the good part, the best part, in my opinion, of what you just told me, is the fact that they would then be able to know who was actually there.
Absolutely. We have no idea. We have speculation, and we have, based on records and marriage records and death certificates and voter records, but until we've unearthed the headstones, we have no idea who's there.
So is it my correct interpretation, though, James, that the city fathers or town fathers of Niagara-on-the-Lake are saying, boy, we really appreciate and understand and empathize with you, but we don't have 60 grand. Is that
exactly.
is that the bottom line I'm getting from this?
Exactly, and that's been the bottom line for the last 2 years that I've been begging them to do the right thing.
Now, do you think in one of the richest regions of our country that they can't find $60,000 out of somebody's petty cash drawer somewhere to say, hey, Mr. Russell, God bless you, you've done a great job. Yeah, we're going to bring this thing back to, pardon the pun, life, as it were. Is this not a difficult concept to wrap your head around?
They have the means, they just don't have the will.
Now, also, I understand, and I don't know the councillor's name, there seems to be, I think there's at least one councillor that is driving this forward. Do you have any support on the council at all? And if so, where's it coming from?
I just want to get her name because she's been quite amazing. Maria Melvadis is a councillor, and she's quite new to the council.
I know Maria. I know her.
She wanted to put forward a motion last night, and it was shot down. The motion was to provide the funds, the $59,000 to restore the Negro burial ground. And she sat with me for hours and hours, and we talked about, next steps going forward. But her motion was shot down.
Now, what are the next steps? I know that politicians and city staff, et cetera, and I'm not throwing shade on anybody in particular, except for the fact that they will always lean on process. Well, Mr. Russell, yes, we really appreciate your efforts, and we really would like to move this forward, but we have to do point A to point B to point C. It's a process we must go through, and on and on and on it goes. What is this so-called process that needs to be done to make the other than the $60,000? What is the process?
There is no other process. ARA, the archaeologists, submitted the proposal, which covers everything, which covers researching who's buried there by going to municipal records and archives. And the next step, of course, is going physically there and probing the ground, finding the headstones, unearthing them and cleaning them, and then deciding what to do next. That's the whole process. That's the $59,000. There's no other study or process necessary. They just need to find the money to pay ARA.
So the decision and the process, the initiative, the whatever you want to call it, is definitely within the auspices of the municipal government here in Niagara. It is not a provincial deal, it's not a federal deal. Municipal politicians have the power to make this happen. Is that correct?
Yes. The Cemeteries Act says that the owner of the cemetery, only the owner of the cemetery, can contract and pay for any work that's done in their cemetery. Actually, a representative of the BAO, the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, came and sat with me for about 10 minutes. And basically he said, this is not our problem, it's the town.
This is going to sound really irreverent to our municipal politicians of all stripes, but there's an old expression, and I'm going to turn it around and use it in this case. The Niagara region and its municipalities spill $60,000 a day, probably. They spill it. It's like, where did that go? Maybe a year, maybe 6 months, maybe a month, whatever. We're not talking $6 million here. We're talking $59,000 for the heritage and the pride and the integrity of a people that were very, and still are, very important to the Niagara region. I don't see that it's a tough decision, James.
For the life of me, I agree with you. I don't understand why I've been fighting the town council for the last 2 years. It's beyond me. It's beyond me.
Just write a check. Figure out later where it's going to come from. But, I'm sure that in the sheltered world of municipal politics, the various people are legitimately concerned about being fiscally responsible for its citizens and for its voters. I get that. However, what do you think would be the best message? We're saving you $60,000 by not doing this, or we are going to spend $60,000 to enhance your heritage and be a part of recognizing the people that built this area. What do you think is the best message?
Yeah, that's very, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. And what the town has done now is they have set up a portal asking the residents, the taxpayers of Niagara-on-the-Lake, who have already paid their taxes, to dip into their pockets again to donate money for the restoration of the Negro burial ground.
They want separate donations?
In order to pay for what the taxpayers have already paid for.
Okay, so I think we've probably ranted enough. Let's and justifiably so. I mean, I'm totally with the project, except for the fact that it isn't a project right now. You were on a so-called hunger strike, you had attached yourself to this site. You are now obviously at home. You're no longer there. Where are we right now? What's going on? Or are we once again just frozen in time?
We're back to square one. I am now. I've connected with a group of people who have basically said the next step is a protest with hundreds of people in Niagara-on-the-Lake, very similar to the Black Lives Matter. So we're in the process of organizing that. Hopefully for June, we hope to have hundreds of people arrive from not only Niagara-on-the-Lake, but also we're going to bus people in from Toronto and the surrounding regions.
Might I suggest something to you?
Sure.
The initiative, or an initiative like this, while honorable in its intentions, often fall on deaf ears because the scope, the reach of such protest often is rather limited. Companies like WeeStreem, for example, can turn a 10-person event into a 100,000-person event. Media promotion, and I'm not talking about traditional media, I'm talking about the kind of media that we are using right now here on Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. This is how you reach people, James. It's wonderful to have feet on the street. It's wonderful to have bums in seats, as we used to say. But when you are fighting for millions, and I mean this literally, millions of eyes and ears, if you are planning an event, do not leave social media and local communications efforts out of the picture, okay?
No, I understand. Yeah.
Because people don't show up at events anymore.
Yeah.
They click on them.
Yes.
You know? And,
yes.
and I want you to be successful in a year. I want us in less than a year, in less than a month, 2 months. I would love to see some new refurbished, redone, replanted, if you will, stones to people that are recognized as being vital parts of this community and a vital part of our history. And I would love to be able to walk by that with you and have a look at it. So get as much feedback and as input as you can, because that's what politicians pay attention to.
Yes, yes.
So God love you. Do you have anything else you want to tell us? Anything else you want to share before we say so long for the day?
No, but I wanted to point out that there are generations of grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren who would love to know where their ancestors are buried.
Precisely.
And the town is denying them that opportunity.
It's $60,000. We spill that in a day. James Russell, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your commitment to this, because without somebody like yourself that takes up the banner for change and for recognition, these things would continue to lay buried forever. And I thank you very much for being here, and stay in touch with us. And if there's anything we can do to help you, please let us know.
Well, thank you for your kind words, and thank you for allowing me to be on your show. Our
pleasure. It's our honor. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. James Russell, 76 years old, an activist on behalf of a truly historical site here in Niagara.
Now, Lee, great interview. I think it would only be responsible of us to kind of go through the official press release from the town of Niagara-on-the-Lake, because, of course, their tact is a little different, and they're citing red tape and the bureaucratic process, which is part of the discussion.
That's why I asked James those questions, and here is, as Kevin says, the other side of the conversation. This is a quote from Niagara-on-the-Lake. Excuse me. The town is committed to honoring those buried at the cemetery and preserving heritage in Niagara-on-the-Lake, said the release. Council has committed to a partnership with a community group known as the FOTF to restore and preserve this burial ground long term. Staff is working with the FOTF concerning next steps and is currently conducting a Stage 1 archaeological assessment through funding raised by the FOTF community group. This process is being done in consultation with the Bereavement Authority of Ontario. Once completed, the results will be shared with Town Council and next steps will be determined. The press release went on to explain that all work on the site must be conducted in accordance with the Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries, the MHSTCI current guidelines, as well as the Funeral, Burials, and Cremation Services Act. Boy, they're bringing out all the letter donkeys here. Any work plans must be approved by the BAO and MHSTCI prior to project initiation. The document concluded, the town will work cooperatively with these parties as it respectfully investigates and restores this important burial site and resting place of the parishioners buried there. Blah, blah, da, dee, blah, da, dee, blah, blah, da, blah. Now, according to Mr. Russell, none of that is necessary. It just depends on who wants to pay for it. See, Kevin, doesn't that not seem what it boils down to? It's like just who's going to write the check?
I'm somewhere in the middle here.
I know you are. I know. And you're probably right. There is a middle. There's as my dad used to say, there's that side of the story, there's that side of the story, then there's the right story.
And it's like a lot of things that happen at the municipal or government level where a lot of us go, well, why can't you just do this?
But
it's not always that easy.
I understand, but it's the optics that suck.
I would agree.
The mayor shows up at this gentleman's hunger strike site at the graveyard and talks about the city budgets. Instead of listening to the history, instead of listening to the story.
I bet if you asked Lord Mayor Gary Zalepa about his visit with James that evening, he might have a different interpretation.
He may. And if he do, give us a shout right at that Zoom link on the bottom of the page. Because that's what we're about. This is what I talked about at the beginning of the show. We are not about having a one-sided conversation. We are about opening it up to let everybody have their say on this and have an opinion. You've heard James Russell's opinion on this, and this isn't the first time this story has hit the headlines. But it comes around again. What goes around comes around, as they say. Have we been unfair a little bit to the city fathers and mothers of Niagara on the Lake? Maybe. And if we have, let us know. Click on that Zoom link in the bottom of the post and come on in and talk to us about it. Tell us why maybe we're a little off base in condemning the lack of action on this. To me, it seems simple. To a lot of people, a lot of things seem simple. And then the politicians will sit back and say, you guys think it's so simple. Well, you come on in here and do our jobs for a while and see how simple it is. I understand that. But what we don't understand is the complete picture.
Yeah, sometimes I look at things like this, Lee, and I go, I don't necessarily know what the right answer is, but I know the wrong answer, and so far that's all I've seen.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's it. I think a lot of people are like, well, no, I know what the right answer is.
That's
just
a perfect...
Cut a check for $60,000. Well, I don't know that that's the right answer, but I know what the wrong answer is, and that's all I've been reading so far.
Yeah. And that's probably a great way to put it. I might not know what's right or best, but I know what's wrong. And somebody has got to go through, let's call it the process, for the lack of a better word. Yeah, there's always a process. Because nobody wants to take the responsibility of being the one. Screw the process, I'm giving you the money. Nobody wants to be that person. because then they come under all kinds of scrutiny. So it's, well, we got to follow the process. Everybody falls back on the process.
Here's something closer to the right answer would be, you know what, while we're fundraising, the city is going to front the $59,000 in an interest-free loan to the FOFW, or whatever that group is. There you go. That's closer to the right answer.
FOTF, yeah. But there's a way. There's always a way to cut through the process. There's always a way to cut through the so-called red tape. And I got to tell you, I have lived all across this country, and we are not the only ones that suffer the municipality gridlock. It's harder to get something through a municipal government than it is to move mountains globally. I swear to God, because everybody's got their job to do. Everybody has their thing, and everything is the process. And almost everyone that has ever elected a mayor or a city councilor has always said, if I'm elected, I vow to make it easier for business to do business. I vow to make it easier to go through these processes. Well, frankly, it doesn't matter what municipality I've been in, from British Columbia to Winnipeg to Niagara Falls to Hamilton to Sarnia to London to Kingston, they're all the same. They don't make it easier. I've never seen it made easier. So, but they always say they're gonna.
Lee, let's move on. Disturbing incident.
Wasn't that fun?
In West St. Catharines. We'll follow this, and we'll be following the updates. A disturbing incident there Monday night, just after dinner time in West St. Catharines, and NRP took 2 men into custody.
Yes, this is a sad state of affairs. Detectives investigating this incident, April the 10th, Monday night, about 8 o'clock. Uniformed officers from the NRPS responded to an assist ambulance call in St. Catharines. They arrived on scene to a multi-unit housing complex on Louth Street near Valley Road. You probably know the area. It's on the west side of the city, on the west side of the Burgoyne Bridge, and a little bit south of there. Correct, Kevin?
Yeah, here, I'll pull it up on the map,
Yeah.
here, Lee, and you can see. I used to live very close to here. So you go. There's the old West Park School, which is now DSBN Academy, the big park right there, and then just to the south, you have this People's Choice Cooperative Homes.
Yeah, and that's the location of which we speak. Officers arrived on the scene to a multi-unit housing complex in that area that Kevin just pointed out, along with EMS. They treated a male, 34-year-old, who was found to be in critical condition. The male victim, despite resuscitation efforts, was pronounced deceased at the scene. As a result of the initial investigation, 2 males were arrested at the scene. Ryan Johan Orland of St. Catharines, 42 years of age, and charged with manslaughter, failed to comply, etc., and the usual things that go along with these kinds of charges, as well as Sean Robert Durrell Montgomery, 45 years old, of NFA, has been charged with those offenses as well. They're both held in custody to attend a video bail hearing, and that's tomorrow.
It was yesterday. So
yesterday. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting today is the 12th.
And hopefully, in a lot of the comments, you notice that both of these guys, what did they get charged with? Failed to comply with their release order, which means, they're known to police, they were on some sort of probation, or had some restrictions on what they were allowed to do. They were not totally free men, and now they've both been charged with manslaughter. So you wonder, another bail hearing? I mean, people are very critical of the judicial system.
I know, I was going to say, and justifiably so, this is more fuel for the fire of people that cannot believe that we allow convicted felons or should I say felons? I don't know. People that they'd already arrested for one reason, to let them out on the street and they kill somebody. Perhaps they allegedly kill somebody. Let's put that allegedly in there. It's a huge debate. But then on the legal side of things, Kevin, I've been reading so many stories about how clogged not only our legal processes are, the court systems, etc., but the jails and the prisons and the halfway houses and all of these places, there's no room at the inn, man.
Now, as always or often is the case, Lee, the story plays out in the comments, and here's the original post from Monday night, just responding to an incident. And 90 comments, of which I believe, I'm not sure if Nick maybe took some of them down.
It said comments were disabled. I think Nick's...
This is four doors down to me. People in the comments, though, Lee, saying that the co-op is very much a community, that there are kids outside playing. In fact, somebody here said that, all the kids were outside playing until we heard a loud scream that was obviously not coming from a child. And somebody in here said, that was my brother.
Yeah, we were going to reach out and thought it was probably way too soon. Vanessa Gallant, our sincere condolences. It was my brother who was killed. Still in disbelief. Hopefully, you keep the suspect.
And you see, I put a comment on there.
You did. Yeah.
I'm very sorry for your
loss.
loss.
We are all very sorry.
Nothing else to be said. Quite often, I wish people would be more empathetic with some of the posts on 411 when there's a car accident. Really, the only thing to say is, I hope everybody's okay.
On social media in general, there is not enough empathy, as you state. Okay. So there's a lot more to know about that story. And as Vanessa said, I hope they keep the suspects. And again, now we don't know. They arraigned. They made their court appearance, as Kevin said yesterday, the 11th. And I'm not sure of the results of that. If they are somehow released again on some sort of bail or recognizance or something, I don't quite get it. But it all depends on the evidence and the lawyers and the terms and the law, and we live in a land of laws, and without those we shall perish. And we don't always agree with them, but they are what they are. And until somebody comes up with a better plan, it's what we got. Kevin, I want to thank our sponsors here for a couple of minutes. I want to thank Gale's Gas Bars, fueling Niagara for over the last 50 years, and they're well known for their gas bars, but they do so much more here in Niagara as well. They service farms and businesses and construction sites, manufacturing plants, all kinds of transportation systems in Niagara. All you have to do is really make one call, and all your petroleum needs are looked after. They carry both clear and colored diesel, regular and premium gas, which you're already aware of, furnace oil. That's something that a lot of people still use. When I was a kid, I grew up and we heated our home with oil for many years. There are still places that use furnace oil every year, and they deliver rain, snow, sleet, kind of like the post office. It gets there. And a wide variety of oil and lubricants in bulk, a real multi-product supplier. The furnace oil warms you up, the gas keeps you going, and by all means, one call and you have questions to ask, do that, and or just go online, which is the way that we prefer to hook people up, because that's kind of business we're in. Gales.ca. It doesn't get any more difficult than that. So we really appreciate their continued support here on the program. Virgin Insurance Brokers, Virgin Insurance Group, here in Niagara as well, located on Ontario Street in St. Catharines. Another long-term born and bred Niagara company. Mark Shirk, Blake and the gang, thank you very much for being a part of us. Fiddler's Poorhouse, Dave McParian and his staff always treat us as if we are golden, and though we are not, we appreciate the hospitality every week that Fiddler's Poorhouse provides. Great menu, great food. We have, as you can see behind me, I'll get out of the way a little bit. an open air seating area on these beautiful, I think they were looking at something like a 26 degrees Celsius day today, Kevin. And back up in the 20s tomorrow. Fiddler's Poorhouse. Just a beautiful, beautiful spot to sit, and the closer you can get to that open air window, the more you'll enjoy it. And so thanks to Dave and the gang for hosting us and letting us sort of disrupt your business processes on a weekly or semi-weekly basis. To another business that I don't give enough nod to, but I'll nod right now, is Beau Chapeau Hat Shop on Queen Street, right downtown, Niagara on the Lake. I have a nice collection of hats that I have purchased from Beau Chapeau Hat Shop. I'm a hat guy, like hats, and boy, they've got something for everybody, be it sports, be it Aussie golf hats like this one is, be it fedoras or caps or whatever headgear you're interested in, you got to stop by. The hard part about going to the Beau Chapeau Hat Shop is getting out. Once you get in, you're going to want to stay there because there's just like so much to look at. So to Kevin Neufeld and his gang at Beau Chapeau, appreciate you allowing me to use your wares here as well. Kevin Jack and Brandon Scram, about 6 or 7 years ago now. Time flies for me, and I always lose track. Do we have James Ponce ready to come on?
No, I'm just talking with his people, hoping we can track him down and get him here on the program to promote the Niagara Falls 420 Expo.
420 Expo, yeah. So he's somebody that we're expecting to come on, and I'm sorry to interrupt you because you're trying to executively produce this show.
Oh, it's all good. I'm an octopus.
Yeah. A multitasker extraordinaire. Kevin came to me 4 years ago. Is it that long already? 4 or 5 years ago? And said, hey, I got this idea because we were sort of in a downturn of business because this COVID thing was looming and whatnot. And so Kevin says, I got this idea. And I kind of think you could do a decent job of it and just show up and we'll do this thing. So here we are into our 4th season, like 4.5 years in to Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry, and we have a partnership with content sharing with Nick at Niagara 411. Hi Nick, hi Nick's mom. And it's been incredibly successful, and I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in real time, and Kevin also puts pieces of the program up on Niagara 411's Facebook page over the course of the week, so that in case you missed it, here's a segment that we did, and hope you enjoy it. So it's new media, it's one-of-a-kind show that we do, and it kind of dovetails with the one-of-a-kind business that Kevin, Jack, and Brandon Scram created 6 or 7 years ago. And Kevin, you're your best spokesman, so tell us how things are going with WeeStreem, and what is WeeStream?
WeeStream is a live event and hybrid event video production company. And you know what, Lee? It's so easy to see what WeeStream is because here's our announcement from the previous week and a half since we were last on the air here, is that the WeeStream office at 22 Secord, our sign is now up.
Yay!
So there you go. I mean,
Hey,
look at that.
people aren't coming into your place now asking for renovations,
Yes,
which is the guy next door.
Yeah, we are next door to Reggie's.
Yeah.
Reggie's Renovations. There's also the raw dog food guys out
Yeah.
in that plaza, close to where the Celtic Club used to be. So that little cut-through street on Secord. Bolt Pools is there. You can make your own wine. That guy's right across the road.
Yeah.
So here we go. I mean, there you go. See our sign right there.
Secord, very well-known street, runs between Lake Street and Scott Street.
There you go. We are live streaming in a hybrid event video production company. We do corporate, community, sports, and special events, and we do any and all of those.
And as I was saying to James Russell when we were talking about the Negro burial ground in Niagara on the Lake, is it's one thing to invite people to a party, but these days people don't often show up at parties because it's kind of inconvenient because people have busy lives. But if they can say, click on that button and you can join the party, ooh, well, that's a whole different sack of hammers. And Kevin, that's what you guys do.
Yeah, a couple of things that we like to say, Lee, in kind of our sales pitch, whatever. Two of them would be go to where the people are, right? This idea that the idea that you're going to have an event, an open house, whatever it is, and everybody's going to take time out of their day to come see you in person. It's really not feasible, and it's not an effective way to reach your audience.
No.
And the other one would be to be your own media. You know, a lot of people are used to the way things worked even 10 years ago, where, okay, we're having a media event. I guess we should, cast a wide net and hope that the newspapers, the radio stations, the TV, well, there is no TV in Niagara. So let's hope that these people show up. And the reality is now, well, why leave it all to hope and prayer? Be your own media. So bring in a company like WeeStreem. You can tell your own story. You control it. You're not reliant on somebody to edit a story and fit it into 250 words and maybe leave out some important details that were of a priority to you.
Be your own media.
Be your own media and go to where the people are.
And as far as I'm concerned, that's me. My website is simple, WeeStream.com. I'm a voice for hire, sort of like a hired gun, if you will. I think I've got now 33 books that I have narrated that are up on Audible, which is the ACX arm of audiobooks, and other clients as well, be they radio commercials, be they documentaries, be they educational, be they e-learning backgrounds, whatever needs a voice, whatever has to be shared on social media or radio, television, whatever. That's what I do, and I've been doing it for, I think, only maybe 47 years now. So one of these days I'll get it right.
Yeah, one day.
That's our whole gaggle of support system here with this program, and we do have a couple of sponsorships open. If you want to find out about it, they're really cost effective. Just get in touch with us. Send us a note on the feed, and Kevin will get in touch with you. Kevin, how close are we to getting James on the air? Another James?
Looks like maybe about 15 minutes, so we might wrap up the show here with James.
Okay.
Something, Lee, that I want to get in. Just you triggered on it there. I signed up for something about a month and a half ago, and it's to help people that are visually impaired or blind. And it was something called Be Your Eyes, and it was really odd, but it was a modern day solution to regular day problems for people that are blind or vision impairment.
Okay,
and
great.
what it is, I registered, and all it meant was I had to give them my phone number. And the deal would be is at any time, and it hasn't happened yet, at any time, somebody from around the world could video call me.
Okay.
And they would video call me and say, hey, let's say I'm in a grocery store. Can you help me pick out the right brand of maple syrup? Because I can't see the labels and they all feel the same to me. So I, on the other side of the world, I could be talking to somebody in Singapore and say, yeah, okay, now reach that one a little to the left. There, that's the one you want.
Wow.
And it could be anything, I wouldn't even try and imagine all of the issues of confusion that people that are blind or have visual impairments deal with, whether it's pushing the right button in an elevator. I know there's Braille there, but maybe it's rubbed off.
That's amazing.
Navigating, a supermarket or navigating a busy place. So they would video call all these people that have volunteered around the world, and I get to be their eyes for whatever task.
And how do they contact you?
I'm just in the registry. I think they just hit next up, right? And again, it hasn't happened yet. I haven't got a call. I don't know why necessarily, but I get emails from them once in a while.
Now, that gives you a warm and fuzzy feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was one of those ones that came up, and you're kind of reading it and going, okay, where's the scam on this? And then you read it, and go,
well, because you always expect a scam, right?
Right, and go, there's nothing scammy about this. This is just people helping people through the use of technology.
That is so cool.
Okay. We're getting a word here. James is going to join us at 1:05, which gives us time to talk about scams, because I don't know whether this is a scam or not. It came through as a scam alert.
Oh, these guys. Yeah, sorry, I was...
No problem. You might have been going somewhere else. But the driveway paving scammers in Welland. And it's this truck.
If you've been around a number of years at all, especially if you're a homeowner, you've probably seen these traveling tradesmen that knock on doors and ask if they can help you fix your porch or do your driveway or whatever. Well, here we are, driveway paving scammers Welland. So, areas of Southworth Street and Ontario Road, occupant in a white truck with an Irish accent is offering to pave driveways for cash. They said they had a job in the area and that was canceled. Police have been notified, as this is the exact situation that was being touted as a scam by police in the GTA last month. They would not provide identification or a business card. Please beware. This is not an uncommon practice. And this particular one quite probably was a scam. But Kevin, we've all had people of this ilk, not necessarily driveway pavers, but all kinds of things, brick masons, whatever it is, offer, like knock on doors and offer to do renovations for you or do upgrades or whatever. And a lot of these people have done very good work for some folks, and some of them are scammers. I guess the concept of showing identification or a portfolio or a business background or something would be an indicator that they are a legitimate company. And if they don't have any of that, well, you know, buyer beware.
Well, take a look through some of these comments here from Niagara 411ers, because they run the entire spectrum of what you were describing, including like Carrie here saying, hey, they were in the Facer Street area.
Okay. Oh, she's over there. Sorry, Carrie. I was looking at the truck. They were in the Facer Street area in St. Catharines last week. Left me a business card, and the website doesn't exist. Used very high-pressure tactics, made me very uncomfortable. Left my street quickly after I let them know I was very nervous. It was the same truck, with one guy driving and one guy approaching houses with an accent. After that, yep, I'm on Facer Street.
So I'm just kind of scrolling through.
Yeah, he was in Welland last year too, using the same spiel. On Garnet Street, St. Kitts today as well. They did work in this area last summer. All jobs are falling apart. Run. Okay. This guy was all over our area in Burlington last year, and word got up. Might not be the same guy.
Yeah, I don't know. But then you get down to people like Christy.
And Christy says, did several houses on my street last year, including mine. Did a great job. I'm extremely happy with it. Now, was it the same guy? We don't know.
Yeah, so which is it? I mean, if a guy knocks on your door, offers to pave your driveway, does it, and it holds up, that's not a scam.
Scam or not a scam? Sounds like a game show. We had the same guy out about a week ago on Kingsway Crescent in St. Catharines. My husband had him at our door and he wouldn't take no for an answer. My husband knew it was fishy. He wanted to do it for $4,500, then went to $3,800. Hubby asked for his business card and name and he wouldn't provide it. People are disgusting, taking advantage of others. Yeah, well, there's con men and con people, con women out there.
Now, Lee, hypothesize, what's the scam here, you think?
Well, you know what? That's a good question. Probably getting paid decent money for inferior product or inferior work. Secondly, you give them a down payment for work to be done next week, and they never show up.
Look at this guy, Carl.
So you know, you walk away with $500 just for knocking on a door. Yeah. Carl says they did our driveway last year and did an awesome job. Same truck. Okay.
So which is it?
Exactly. It's kind of like trying to grab smoke. You really don't know what is happening.
But then you get here, Leanne, he gets around. He was in Smithville last year as well, trying to convince my elderly mother. Then I came by.
I asked a lot of questions, and I never saw them again. Can't believe they are still making their rounds. Oh, they won't stop. These guys did a bunch of my neighbors last year, and some driveways always are coming back up, and they did not rid out existing asphalt, just went over what was already there. Well, that's what you can do by
work.
Yeah, you can do that yourself by buying a tub of tar at Canadian Tire and, sealant, as they call it, and do it yourself without ripping up the old stuff. Hope they catch them. Well, I don't know. What is there to catch? It's kind of tough to prove that they're breaking the law, I guess, unless they take your money and then don't show up. Because they ask you a question, if you give them your money, you gave them your money. Yeah, I don't know that you can go to jail for lying, can you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's good to make people aware, and some people's experiencing saying, very pushy sales tactics. So, of course, anybody that walks up to your door unsolicited should right away make you wonder and make you think, right? Because that's not how people conduct business nowadays.
Oh, God, no. My son, God bless him, he was one of those hated vacuum cleaner salesmen for a short period of his life. He was good at it, but he was obnoxious. He was friendly. He was obnoxiously friendly to the people at the door. Let's knock on the door. Hi, I'm doing a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Get off my porch, and if you come back, I'll throw you off my porch again. 4 hours later, he goes back. Here I am. You gotta have stones if you're going to be selling something door to door. And boy, that's a tough. Remember the old encyclopedia sales? Kevin, are you old enough to remember that?
I'm not old enough to actually have them come to my door, but old enough for them to kind of be. They were the punchline, right?
These poor guys. I mean, they were. I remember when I was a kid, and my parents bought them too, and they were great encyclopedias. But they're carrying these boxes, and they're so heavy. You know how heavy books are to carry around. Oh my God, they had to work hard. I felt like giving them money when I was a kid just because they had to carry all that crap in the heat of the summer wearing a suit. This is a tough job.
Now, Lee, here's one that kind of relates to this, and it was such a quick video that Nick put up here on April the 4th. And I'm not sure if you saw this, but the reports were, the car goes by so fast. But, I mean, you can read the reports right there, and then I'll play the video a couple of times.
April the 4th be with you? Okay.
Yeah, see if you can make anything of it.
Witnesses recorded what appears to be two people riding outside of a vehicle traveling well in excess of the speed limit on 15th Street in Lincoln this morning. Okay, now you say it goes fast.
Yeah, okay, here you go. And I don't know, I mean...
I saw...
Are they like hanging out the
windows? It looks like they're hanging out the window.
Dukes of Hazzard?
Pretty crappy car for Dukes of Hazzard.
I mean, here, I'll see if I can... No, you can't.
Can't pause it. That. So just a couple of kids stunting by the looks of it. Taking their own lives in their hands. Well, you can't fix stupid.
Gosh.
Frankly, it doesn't bother me at all. They're the only ones that are going to get hurt. I hope. You can't fix stupid. I want to mention something today. It was announced this morning. Gordon Lightfoot, Canada's most loved troubadour, is what I refer to him as and have for my entire life. I've always been a huge fan of Gordon's. I am blessed to be able to say that I've met him and talked to him and spent some time with him. And to me, those are some of the most precious moments of my life. It was announced today, Gordon Lightfoot, he's 84 years old, has canceled all his planned concerts over health issues. He has been experiencing some again. He did a number of years ago and was able to bounce back and to recover from the issues that he was suffering from a number of years ago. There is no detail of what is ailing Gordon, but there are also no details on when or if those concerts will be rescheduled. And all of our thoughts and prayers, as I say, go out to him. He's a wonderful man, and as I said, I'm happy to call him my friend and my hero and one of my mentors, and he has meant much to me over my career and his. He plays a guitar like me as well with that lovely acoustic 12-string he's holding. And I wish him well. He's had an interesting life. He has created some of the most beautiful music and engaging melodies and haunting lyrics of any musician. And he didn't sell out, as they say. He remained living in Canada. He has never moved south to live in the United States. He has had a few big hits, of course, that were on the United States radio stations and on the U.S. charts, but he has been intrinsically and committedly Canadian his entire life, his entire career, originally from Orillia, Ontario. We wish Gordon well and a speedy recovery. We hope this isn't the last we hear from you, Gordon. Get well. We love you. You're one of a kind. James Ponce, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. James will let me know if he's not. He's the co-founder of 420 Niagara Falls 420 Expo, and that's coming up not on the 20th, but pretty darn close. James, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you. Is it Ponce or Ponce?
It's actually, I say Ponce, but it's actually Ponce. It's Spanish.
Ponce,
from,
yeah.
It's from Ecuador.
Because there's a lady that's a good friend of mine out in British Columbia with the same last name, and she is Ponce. So I wasn't sure. But we've met before. We've chatted before, have we not?
We have, yes.
Yeah, you look way too familiar to me for this to be a first timer. So, fill us in on what's going on. We got Niagara 420 back on the rails.
Yeah, first of all, I hope everything. I heard your report about Gordon Lightfoot, and sad to hear about the cancellations and everything.
Yeah.
So, wishing well over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Niagara Falls 420 Expo takes place on Saturday, April 22nd. It's Canada's largest celebration of everything cannabis. Instead of just it's not the kind of normal cannabis event that you see where people, it's business to business. This is consumer based. So we put a lot of things in there that are fun. We have vendors selling, hemp clothing. We have people selling tie-dye clothing. We have, paraphernalia. There's bongs, there's pipes, there's papers, there's crafters that make custom bongs, painted pipes, handcrafted pipes, everything. We even have, pop culture vendors that sell stoner toy, Jake and Silent Bob comics and figures and, a little bit of everything. So we kind of embrace more of the pop culture side of cannabis and, the movies and memorabilia that come along with it, as opposed to, being like a kind of like a boring, like a home and garden kind of show.
Yeah, it's a fun trade show.
100%. Yeah, we've got movie cars. It's a consumer show. We've got that's the goal, is the consumers to come in and have a great time. All the fans that come. We've got the Love Machine, a replica from the old Cheech and Chong films. We've got a Mystery Machine replica. We've got Bill Diamond, who is a puppeteer out of New York, who has worked with Jim Henson back in the 80s. He worked on Dark Crystal and Fraggle Rock, and he comes with a big 6.5-foot Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. He actually made the Audrey plant for the Broadway musical, and he brings that on tour. So that's coming to the show where, you know, people can go outside, smoke a joint, and then come inside and get a picture inside Audrey's mouth. So, you know, it's kind of fun things like that.
That's awesome. Now, James, is this the first expo of its kind since the whole COVID thing, and also part two, since the legalization of cannabis in this country?
No. So we were actually the first show in the area.
Okay.
Actually, the first, you know, cannabis-based show in Ontario to take place after legalization. When our first event of this name was April 2019. So cannabis had been legal for about 5.5 months in Ontario.
Okay.
But there were no stores yet. The Niagara Herbalist had just opened, and Choom was in the process of opening here in Niagara. And then last year, we were the first consumer show post-COVID that had full attendance, no masks, everything was, like, you know, a back to normal fun event. So we were the first show in the Niagara region to be back.
Well, congratulations! But it sounds like it's going to be really, really sort of puffed up and blown up from previous versions. It just sounds like it's going to be fun for anybody that wants to show up. We got to freeze.
Yeah, we just got to freeze here. I can throw this up, Lee. I mean, man, there's so much going on. As I know James will be back here in a second. It looks like Afro Man's coming this year.
Yeah.
They got bands. They got DJs. And they just dropped out here for a second. I know we'll get them back. The Green Room Podcast will be recording live all day.
Green Room Podcast. I like that.
Here we go. James is coming back in now.
Yeah, okay.
You see, but tickets, and they throw their website right at the top here.
Yeah.
We'll get James back here in just one second. There it is there, Niagara Falls 420 Expo.com. So here you go.
Okay, hey James, sorry we had a bit of a freeze there for a moment. So tell us, let's go back to the nuts and bolts of this thing now. Times and dates and ticket prices and how do we find you and all that stuff.
Yeah, so Saturday, April 22nd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The event runs all day long at the Niagara Falls Convention Center on Stanley Avenue. You can get tickets online at NiagaraFalls420Expo.com or at the door. Tickets are always available at the door to walk up. Some people plan in advance. Other people come and show up at the door. It's probably the most cost-effective event in the city. Ticket-wise, tickets are $20, plus HST. So, get them at the door or online in advance, whatever people like. And you can meet Afro Man. We have, legendary rapper Free from 1 to 3 p.m. He'll be meeting fans and taking selfies for free.
Yeah, we were talking about that during our little hiatus. There a lot of entertainment throughout the course of the day.
Yeah, that's one of the goals. We want to give people interactive, fun things to do. We have Jordan Prentice as well, who is an actor out of Toronto. He's been in films like In Bruges and, Howard the Duck. He was actually the physical body of Howard the Duck in a few snes. The reason we're bringing him in is from Harold and Kumar. He's actually the big bag of weed that Kumar falls in love with during the dream sequence.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to having him at the show, and we've got a whole bunch of exciting panelists and speakers like Jackie Childs, and we have Primo Cannabis on site and Carmel Cannabis, and all these companies talking about different strands and legalities and social media and cannabis and all these different things you can do.
Yeah, very interesting.
Lee, do you think I could ask a question here, James?
Well, okay, I guess so, if you have to.
Well, as you start talking about the actors and everything that is part of 420 culture, where do you guys draw the line? I mean, Harold and Kumar, okay, a very weed-based movie, Mystery Machine, I get it, but, arcades and things like this. The Afro-Mans are obvious, but where does 420 culture stop and start, I guess? Are there boundaries?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some boundaries like there is for everything, but I mean, at the same time, think about it. How many people do you know smoke a joint and then play a video game and relax after work? I know quite a few. So, I think that's part of it as well, is you can kind of, a lot of things you can integrate that maybe you didn't think of, such as gaming.
Sure.
You have an outdoor patio where you can go outside and smoke and chill, with a rolling station. I think there's a lot of things in pop culture that I think people don't realize can kind of be integrated into cannabis and really enjoying it at the same time.
Now, when people think about cannabis, especially of my generation, the older folks, the 1960s people, it's all about smoking.
Yep.
But now we've got the edibles, and you've got the gummies, and like all this stuff. Is this side of the business represented at the 420 Expo as well?
Well, it's represented in the Expo in that there are vendors that have shops that they can talk about what they have online, show you what's in the store, on their phones, things like that. There will not, you can't buy edibles at the show. It's just not how the government works yet.
Right.
But we are hoping that, sometime in the next, hopefully, year or two, they'll look at it as, a special occasion permit, like a license, just like a beer fest, right? When craft beers can go.
Okay,
we're hoping that eventually cannabis can do the same thing.
Okay, we had a little bit of a breakup there. Could you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, no problem. So we're hoping that, right now you can't buy edibles or cannabis drinks outside of an actual licensed retailer.
Gotcha.
So, we're hoping that, in the next year or two, the government maybe relooks at it, does a thorough review, and they look at maybe giving, a special occasion permit like you can with alcohol. If you're a small crafter, you can have your alcohol in an LCBO, but you can also go to a beer fest and sell it. So we're hoping that eventually they'll look at cannabis the same way. You can do it with cigars, and so.
But you can't do it. You can't do it with a marijuana cigarette at this show, for example.
Not yet, but we're hoping that's the goal. Is that eventually the government looks at it and gives it a shot? Because at the same time, it would be a really cool experience to go and see so many different types of strands in person, which you can't do at all.
James, from your perspective, how has the legalization of this product, or the decriminalization, if you will, of this product changed this environment that all of you folks and all of the people that are going to be at the show live in? How is it, or is it different?
I think it's definitely changed. I think it's become more mainstream, more accepted. If you said 10 years ago we were running a 420 Expo, a cannabis expo inside a convention center, we probably wouldn't have even been allowed to. There probably would have been so much red herring and red tape. But now we're legally allowed to. People can go outside in our designated smoking area. They can consume cannabis there. They can sit outside in nice weather. Hopefully it's nice weather. They can smoke a joint. They can go back inside. They can meet Afro Man, play games. And it's more socially acceptable now. I think the stigma behind cannabis use is gone from where it used to be.
Do you get any pushback from the neighbors, as it were, when you do this?
Not to our knowledge. I think I know the convention center did get a complaint before about people saying that it smelled a little different,
skunky.
But a little skunky. But no, for the most part, everyone's been very supportive, especially the venue and everyone around. So we've been really lucky that way.
Kevin?
Yeah, James, just want you to walk through the tickets. I'm going to throw it up on the screen here. I know you can't see it, but $25.11 for general admission. You can't beat that. That's an incredible deal. And you can get it all there on the website, NiagaraFalls420expo.com. You've also got the VIP admission, and then there's an Afro Man VIP package. Can you talk about the difference between those three tiers?
Yeah, so the most cost-effective is the general admission, which gets you into the event all day long from 10 to 5. You still can meet Afro Man. You still can partake in all the other fun. The VIP package gets you in half an hour before everyone else, so you can go shopping a little bit early, maybe get your hands on some things you've been looking at. Maybe there's a pipe or bong that is really cool that you want to get before it sells out, because people do sell out of items at these vendor tables. And you also get a swag bag from the Niagara Falls 420 Expo that has all kinds of goodies. There's beanies, there's shirts, there's pipes, there's rolling trays, there's vape pens, there's cases, there's just all kinds of stuff in there that's really cool. It's about a $200 value roughly. And then the VIP pack, the Afro Man VIP includes everything the regular VIP does, but it also includes a private 5-minute VIP meet and greet with Afroman. It's only limited to about 10 people. So you'll have 5 minutes private time in a small group setting off the show floor with Afroman to kind of, mingle, chat, joke around, ask some questions, and who knows, maybe he'll go outside and smoke with you too.
Okay. Terrific to have you back. Great to have this ramped up to a whole new level. What's the website again?
Niagara Falls 420expo.com. Tickets are available online or at the door.
All right, that is awesome. James Ponce, co-organizer of the 420 Expo. Thanks for taking time out and talking to us. Hope it's a great event. I'm sure it will be. Sounds like a lot of fun. And who knew, as you said earlier, who knew that society would reach this stage of development? I mean, you never know where we're going these days, do you? So congratulations and good luck with it.
Well, thank you. You know what? 100 years ago, alcohol was banned too, right? So
perish the thought.
Right? I agree. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Take care.
Enjoy, guys.
So there you go. Have fun on April the 22nd. I want to mention our sponsors once again before we totally run out of time. Gales Gas Bars, thank you very much for fueling this program and continuing to be a huge keynote sponsor of ours. And it's not just gas bars, as you know them. It's farms, businesses, construction sites, manufacturing plants, all kinds of transportation venues that they serve and they support. All petroleum needs. Think petroleum, and it all comes under the Gales umbrella. They've got both kinds of diesel, clear and colored. Of course, regular and premium gas, as you know. Furnace oil, yes, people still do heat and run furnaces with oil, and their trucks are out there 24/7, all around the calendar, supplying that life fuel, I guess. And we thank them for fueling this program. Verge Insurance, also your support, greatly appreciated here. For all your insurance needs in Niagara, there's another Niagara born and bred company, which is what we like to focus on. Also, Kevin Jack, a pleasure as always working with you and your technical expertise here at WeeStream. We love doing this. We are every 2 weeks now. That being said, when things ramp up or schedules allow, we may go back to our weekly stint, but right now it's every 2 weeks here on Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. Also to Fiddler's Poorhouse again, Dave Mukparian and the staff that put up with us every week. Thank you very much for that. Nick at Niagara 411. Nick's mom, hello. Kevin, give my best to your dad. I know he's still kind of recuperating a little bit from
he's doing pretty good.
His issues of the last while, so we want to make sure that he's doing well. And we have a Niagara act to play us off the stage here at Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry, as we always do. His name is Lee Curry. Are we ready to go with Mr. Curry?
Just give me a minute here, Lee. And
or do you want to?
Let's show people this beautiful day outside, and just.
Oh, look at there! Yes.
Do your regular send off, and then we'll be ready with Lee Curry. This is a guy I just stumbled across in a Facebook group called Niagara Musicians. Yeah. I think it says went to Governor Simcoe. He's a St. Catharines guy, and don't know any more about him other than the song is an original song called what? Hey Hey Yeah Yeah.
Hey Hey Yeah Yeah.
It seems pretty decent to me.
I want to remind you, if you see smoke over in the area of the Eco Park, Malcolmson Eco Park, it's a controlled burn. There is no problem. All right? They may have already done it. They may be getting ready to do it. I'm not sure of their timing. But if you do see smoke over there, do not be alarmed and don't call authorities because everything is A-OK. James Russell, thank you very much. 76-year-old man raising awareness once again of the Negro burial ground that needs attention, a lot of attention from the municipality of Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I hope we get it. James Ponce, 420 Expo in Niagara Falls on April the 22nd. And Lee Curry is, I'm Lee Sterry, thanks for being here. Lee Curry is going to join us with Hey Hey Yeah Yeah. Enjoy this fabulous, fabulous day. It's summertime in Niagara.
as long as